Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Tuitt.
And I'm Mr. Scott Ritchie.
Welcome to the Career Exploration Series, focusing on your future and your path. This series is designed to help you explore what comes after high school with confidence, curiosity, and a sense of possibility. Whether you already have a dream career in mind or you're still figuring things out, this series is here to help guide you through the world of college and career options in a way that's real, practical, and inspiring.
Over the next episodes, you'll meet people working in a wide range of fields, from mental health to service sector, and from the arts to AI and more. You'll see what their day-to-day at work actually looks like. Hear how they got started and learn what they wish they'd have known when they were in your shoes. We'll break down different types of colleges, degrees, and training programs and help you understand how to choose a path that fits you, your interests, your strengths, and your goals.
Today, in episode 1, we're starting at the beginning, exploring the big picture. We'll meet some professionals who've recently traveled down the road you're embarking on.
These professionals once stood exactly where you are now, wondering what comes next, and you'll discover how they found their way forward.
So take a breath, get curious,
and let's start exploring your future together.
My name is Richard Castle. I am a homologation and compliance engineer for Slate Automotive.
Hello, my name is Matt Crossett. Currently, I work in gaming for Epic Games as a scan capture producer.
My name is Sarah Hillenmeyer. I currently am the Vice President of AI and Data Science at a medium-sized tech company.
Yes. Okay, so I am Jack Miranda. My title is Laser Technician, and my company is Photon Automation.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mark Robinson. I currently work at Notre Dame at the library, Hasbrook Libraries, as an academic librarian.
My name is Stephen Strinka. My job title is mechanical engineer. And the company I'm with is Adaptive Innovations Corporations in Denver, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Nathan White. I'm policy director for AI wearables at Meta.
Hi, I'm Bradley Wantz. I am a licensed clinical social worker and licensed clinical addiction counselor here in the state of Indiana. I graduated from the Indiana Academy back in 2005. Following that, I attended IU Bloomington, where I was a double major in theater and drama, as well as African American studies, and then attended graduate school at the University of Indianapolis, where I received a master's of social work.
I graduated from the Indiana Academy in 2010. Went on to go to Kettering University, where I got my Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
I graduated from the Indiana Academy in 2002. After the Academy, I went to Brown University, where I earned my Bachelor of Science degree in computational biology. Then I worked for a few years and then went back to graduate school at Stanford University, where I earned a PhD in biomedical informatics.
I graduated in 2011 from the Indiana Academy. I then proceeded to go on to the University of Evansville for a few years, and then I finished up my degree in physics at IUPUI.
I graduated from the Indiana Academy in 2005, so a little while ago. After that, I went to Purdue University, and I got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering in 2010.
I graduated the academy in 2005, 20 years ago, and I went to undergrad at Purdue, and I went to grad school at Indiana University in Bloomington. So all around state-educated guy. Hooray, public education.
I graduated from the academy in 2003. I ended up going to film school at University of North Carolina School of the Arts, where I majored in film directing.
I graduated from the Indiana Academy in 2002, and through the academy, I became familiar with Kalamazoo College. While at Kalamazoo College, I was planning on becoming an ambassador. I wanted to take the Foreign Service exam, and I wanted to live abroad. Then I decided to go to law school. So I started preparing to go to law school, and I remember I read an article in the New York Times, and it said there were more people currently enrolled in law school than there are law jobs in the country. And realized I don't want to actually be a lawyer. It's just what people do on the way to DC. So I started looking for alternatives, and there was a school in DC, George Washington, that had a new program around political communications. And I thought that's actually really what I want to do. I want to influence people and through communication and politics.
My dream job was to work for the World Health Organization, performing research on the big, challenging medical issues of the time when I was that age, thinking about cancer and AIDS, and trying to help our world be healthier and discover cures for some of those incurable diseases. I also slightly considered being a medical doctor at that time, but at the time I felt like I wanted something that I was mostly working on my own and I wasn't working too directly with lots of people. I'm an introvert at heart. And so I pictured more of a research career.
When I was at the academy, I got a video camera and I tried to start making all of my classes and projects videos, basically. So every assignment I had, I tried to say, "Can I make a video out of this? Can I make a video out of this?" And I did. I started the film club when I was at the academy. I made some short films while I was there as well, in addition to my classes, and that kind of carried over into my eventual career.
I think when I was younger, I wanted to do something like be a machinist or a mechanic or something where I worked with my hands. And as I kind of took some more classes, I realized that engineering was kind of that, but you could also use, some of the book learning.
I think then when I was in high school, maybe I had dreams of being a teacher, maybe like a history teacher. I think that's probably why I majored in history. I had a whole slew of awesome history teachers, including at the academy, several really great ones.
I was always I always leaned science heavy. So like I always loved like biology class and chemistry and all of those types of classes. I just loved learning, and I was hoping to get into a job in a field where I could learn more.
For a long time, I wanted a career in theater. I wanted to be on Broadway, and that was my goal. Definitely starting while I was at the academy and then into college.
Like a lot of kids, I wanted to be an astronaut. As I got older, I realized even in the best of circumstances, even if I were smart enough and in shape enough and all that, it's very much a dice roll because you would be competing against the very best people in the world. And I mean, the Indiana Academy, I heard one of my seniors when I was a junior is in the astronaut training program. So it can happen, which is excellent. But I decided I wanted to do something that I felt was a little more realistic with a good chance to succeed in. So I decided if I can't be an astronaut, I could still work on planes and airplanes if I become an aeronautical engineer. And then what I found was that the jobs in aeronautical engineering are difficult to find as well. There are companies, but there's roughly 20 times the number of companies interested in mechanical engineers. Not only that, every company that needs aeronautical engineers also needs mechanical engineers. So I decided again to sort of realistically broaden my options, and it wasn't shutting down what I wanted to do with making airplanes at that point in my life, but it gave me other choices as well.
Yeah, so I am not on Broadway. I am not currently working in the theater. And I came into working in mental health and addictions. And I came to work in this field, I don't want to say by accident, but certainly not necessarily planning to do that. And I ended up getting a part-time job at an addictions treatment center as like a bachelor's level employee, what we could call like a life skills clinician. And eventually ended up working there full-time, moved into care coordination, started working with some of the counselors and therapists and seeing what they do, and thought that's something that I'd like to do as well. And so while I was working there, I went back to school, got my master's of social work, did an internship, and now I work full-time as a behavioral health therapist.
My career has been a journey. I don't like the word path, to be honest with you, because when you start your career, a path sounds like this thing that you need to stay on for your entire life. And it's only looking back does it look like a path. When you're going forward, it looks like a journey and an exploration.
And I have been, since graduating in various companies within the automotive industry.
My journey after graduating college was not a straight line by any means. It was definitely an adventure, and it definitely took me a lot of different places. After college, I got into independent films. I AD'd a film. I moved back to North Carolina. I worked in a grip and lighting house. Eventually, I made the plunge to LA. I worked in entertainment news for a while. I worked in post-production. Then I went back to indie features and did some more AD work. I bounced between reality TV, commercials, music videos, big budget features, low budget features, scripted television, unscripted television. I worked in production, in editing, in camera. I did a little bit of everything, to be quite honest with you. And then in 2013, I moved to Colorado where I ran a boutique production company and local news network. So I did local news, I did live sports. I filmed several documentaries that went to festivals and played on various TV stations. And then I moved back to LA, got back in reality TV, which led me into eventually through other contacts I had made along the way into motion capture. In 2020, I worked for Digital Domain, which is the oldest VFX company in Hollywood, where I ran a motion capture stage and did performance capture for video games, movies, metaverse projects, things like that. And from there, most recently, I applied to Epic Games, where I work now as a capture scan producer, where I basically take humans and I scan their face and body and turn them into 3D models to populate the metaverse in video games and TV.
My first job was in a wet biology lab, testing different drugs to see which ones were effective to treat various kinds of cancers. And I did that for a few years. I didn't like it very much, in part because it was quite repetitive. So I found it a little bit boring. So there were all of these smaller programs that were being built by researchers or small companies to analyze the data from these high throughput or larger scale assays and experiments. Because I had a computer science degree and experience, I sort of knew how to do some of that. So I pivoted a little bit and did more and more data analysis rather than running the experiments myself. That's when I pivoted and I went to graduate school instead of banging my head against the wall and trying to get into medical school. But it was a little bit of an accident, and it was born of not actually getting what I thought would have been the right path, what I thought that I wanted. I had to go to Plan B, and now when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I ended up on the path that I'm on and having the career that I have now. It's a much better fit for me.
I got an email from the Dean of Students at IUPUI, and they're like, hey, we have this opportunity. This guy that I know who does a lot of laser stuff, I interviewed for this position, and then COVID happened. And so I was just hanging out at home for like 2 or 3 months. And then they eventually called me in and, hey, are you still interested in this position? And it was COVID, so I didn't have any other jobs. So I kind of said yes. And it was really exciting.
In undergrad, you're so focused as a college student, just like when you're a high school student, you're so focused on your classes and getting the grade and finishing the assignments. And it's easy to think, I'll think about my future later. But your parents won't let you off the hook in that way, the way that you want to let yourself off the hook. And so adults in my life, all through college, kept asking me, well, what are you going to do when you graduate? And I'm really glad they did, even though it wasn't comfortable at 18 or 19 or 20 to try to answer that question. They did force me to think through some of my options. I do encourage you to seek out anyone who's watching this, to seek out a good mentor, through teachers or guidance counselors or whoever, because those adults have jobs and they know more about the actual landscape of jobs. I should have had more of those conversations as a college student. But I think once I knew that being a lawyer wasn't right for me, I knew I had to do something with grad school. So honestly, I wish that my journey in college were more interesting, but it was actually a lot of avoidance. It was me avoiding the issue a lot before I got to senior year and really deciding I have to apply to grad school in some form or another. And I'm really glad I did that, because I love my career, and going to grad school, especially within a professional path, really forced me to learn more about the industry and job prospects. So honestly, my journey that's more interesting is more what happened when I got to grad school, because getting your degree doesn't necessarily mean you're going to work in that field. And it certainly doesn't mean that all jobs in that field are the same. And so my journey really was mostly the part-time jobs that I had in grad school, all of which were in libraries, and learning what I was good at and what I enjoyed, which was things like working one-on-one with students and personally helping an individual researcher find that source that they're looking for. That was the kind of stuff that gave me energy in the work. And so that is my jobs in grad school have largely shaped the types of big boy jobs that I've sought since graduating.
I mean, if I'd known as a younger person exactly what I wanted to do, then I may have studied different things in college or maybe even at the academy. But I would say more than anything is to just work on myself, to constantly know myself.
Staying curious. I mean, that's very important. Sometimes careers can get frustrating.
The way I was taught in school that things were going to be are not necessarily the way that they're going to be in life. When you're in college, you're taught a certain way, and these are things to expect. But then when you get onto the real world, you realize that there is no right way and there's no set way, that things are going to change and you have to be adaptable.
Focus on what you can control and what is interesting and where there is, set yourself up for opportunity. Focus on things that you are naturally inclined to do. I don't necessarily mean good at it. Not everybody's naturally good at things. But if it is interesting to you and you like doing it, then you'll do it over and over and over again. You may not be naturally really good at math, but if you kind of like the puzzles, do it anyway because you'll spend your life doing puzzles and you'll figure it out and you'll get good eventually. So focus on things that give you energy that you enjoy doing, whether you're good at them or not, and then look for areas where there's going to be opportunity and growth so that you are at the forefront to take advantage of that opportunity.
If you want to have a successful career in whatever field that you go into, you have to, reach out to, I know that, LinkedIn is like a good way to get reached out and meet people. But I think that the old school way of like talking to people and figuring out, networking amongst like professors and classmates and all of that, I think that that's just in general the better way to go because you know those people and they know kind of what your skill set is. So they can like take you and put you into a role that's going to fit what you know, where you're going to thrive.
Wish I'd had the exposure and the confidence to talk to people about the jobs that they have and to broaden my understanding of what jobs are available in the world. I think the internet and social media has actually made that quite a lot easier for the next generation. I think you have a better sense of what jobs are out there. But maybe the through thread is don't be nervous. Lean on those connections, email those people, ask for an informational interview, or if you can buy them coffee if they're in the same town, and just ask the same questions that we're talking about today. Like, what's your job like, and what did it take to get there? And it's still a lot more information than I had when I was fumbling through this, and I think it'll really help.
Don't be afraid of the opportunities you're presented with. Every opportunity that you take opens future opportunities, but also closes other future opportunities. When you take that first job, you are opening yourself up to all sorts of options for our second job. But that first job also closes off a lot of options for other jobs too. But you don't get anywhere in life by just sitting at home doing nothing. Like ambition is the stuff of life, and a lot of pursuing your ambition is really uncomfortable at first, but then you get good at it, and it becomes rewarding and something that you're good at. So take those opportunities.
2,500 years ago, the word know thyself were inscribed upon the Delphic oracle, the Temple of Apollo in Greece. And if the advice was good 2,500 years ago, it's still good today. Know what you like to do, and then know the trade-offs involved with that choice. I don't think the advice of do what you love is universally good advice because a lot of people love things that are not easily monetizable. And to have a comfortable standard of living in life, you need to have some degree of income. So you need to figure out what you're comfortable with, and then you need to find a way to obtain that in your career that doesn't at least drive you crazy, You don't have to like every job, but you should do something that leaves you with enough energy and spending, enough money that you can enjoy the aspects of your life that are not at work. If you can find a job you love too, then that's fantastic.
As we wrap up this first episode, take a moment to think about everything you've just explored.
You've seen that life after high school isn't a single path, but a landscape full of possibilities.
From four-year universities to apprenticeships and careers you may not have even heard of yet, there are so many directions you can take.
And the best part is that your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's.
You heard from people who were once right where you are now.
Unsure, curious, maybe even a little overwhelmed.
And you saw how their choices, big and small, helped mold their interests and abilities into what would become their future careers.
As their stories unfold, you'll see that they don't need all the answers right now.
What matters is staying open, asking questions, and taking the next step.
This series is here to help you do exactly that. In the episodes ahead, we'll explore some specific careers, see what different jobs actually look like day to day, and learn how people found their way into the fields they love.
You'll also get practical guidance on choosing colleges, understanding degrees, and connecting your interests to real opportunities.
So keep going, stay curious. Your future is full of potential, and your journey is just getting started.